Hello BookTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Juan, I am just one reader, and I have another Friday Reads video to tell you about the books that I am reading this week and what I want to start reading the next week. So I am in the middle of two books, Lovely Dark Deep by Joyce Carol Oates and Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. So let me tell you a little bit about both of them and what I have thought so far about each. Joyce Carol Oates is an author that I know is pretty important, and she recently came to my attention thanks to Eric from the channel Lonesome Reader. He did a wonderful interview with her, and I just wanted to try her out, and I realized that I had a few of her books in my shelves already. And this is a short story collection. Again, this is Lovely Dark Deep. And I never really cared for the cover and the title. It just didn't sound like something I wanted to read. Maybe some prejudiced part of myself thought this was going to be effeminate or romantic just because of, the illustration on the cover, the title itself. So I had that idea, that predisposition, and I am loving this book. It really has blown me away. Like I said, it is a collection of short stories, but it's exactly the kind of short story collection that I love. I love short story collections, but I don't read many of them, and I think that's because I have this idea in my head that going into a short story collection is a time investment, it's a commitment, and it is, but any book is a commitment, really. But I don't know why it's different for me with short story collections. Does it happen to you? It happens to me all the time. I am more hesitant towards picking a short story collection than a novel. Like, I will more willingly try a novel than a short story collection. So anyway, I picked this up with that sort of reluctance, and it has blown me away. I have talked about the stories in here in my previous Friday Reads videos, and let me tell you about the stories that I read this week. I read one story that is called The Disappearing, and this was really wonderful. All of the stories are similar thematically and also in some plot elements, and also character elements. They are quite similar, not in a way that they feel repetitive, but in a way that they feel consistent. The collection feels consistent because of the themes and the plot and the character elements. And also structurally, I think Joyce Carol Oates structurally plays around with the form of the short story collection quite a bit in this collection. So there's many flashbacks going on, there's different jumps into different time periods or from one character to the other. She also does this thing that I think is really great of, she doesn't really address her characters personally. She refers to them just as the wife, the husband, or the man, the teacher, the professor. So there's a wonderful thing there that I very much appreciate, because you feel that these stories are not only individual, but they are also universal. I don't know if that makes sense. But anyway, I have read some stories this week from this collection. The Disappearing was really great. It was about this married couple who are sort of falling apart. You can't really pinpoint what is going on with these people, but there's something there. Then there's another story that I think is one of the best ones, and the most fascinating story so far in the collection, which is Things Passed on the Way to Oblivion. And this story was terrifying. It's about this girl, and she's dying, basically. She's having a weird physical reaction to something. We know that they admit her to the ER, and she dies. She dies, and they think that it was an overdose, but they don't really know exactly what it was. And then we start to go back in time and piece the puzzle together. And there are many interesting commentaries, social, race, class discussions or commentary that the author is playing with here. It's a wonderful story, and it was terrifying. Like I was in shock when I read that story. And then we have some other stories like Forked River Roadside Shrine, South Jersey, The Jesters, Betrayal. I love the story Betrayal. It's about this family, and one of the sons of this family is he's a guy who just came out of college, and he's like finding his own identity, but in doing so he starts becoming part of a monkey clan, and he goes to the zoo and he starts getting really involved with activism and pro like animal rights activism. And this is like a betrayal to the family, because the family want him to be successful in the Western typical way, and he is very much connected to animal life and what becomes valuable for him and what makes sense to him. And slowly he starts becoming a monkey, and it's a wonderful story with a little bit of magical realism into it. And yeah, this short story collection is wonderful. So I have like 3 more stories left, and I will be finishing that next week. And then the other book that I am reading is Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. I don't want to talk a lot about it here because I feel like there's so much going on in this book that I don't want to spoil my thoughts about it, because I feel like when I finish this book, I will be able to give a more hopefully profound review, and you will get to hear more about this. But let me tell you that Gone with the Wind is a story that I knew nothing about. I knew that there was a movie, but I didn't even know what the movie was about. I had never seen a poster or a trailer or any images of the movie. I still haven't. I don't know anything about the movie. I just was never really exposed to Gone with the Wind when I was growing up. And so I came into this completely blank, and I am so loving this experience because I had no experience, no previous baggage whatsoever about this. I am just enjoying it all the more. This is the story of a girl who lives in the south of the United States of America. Her name is Scarlett. She's fascinating, she's very young, and she's feisty and fiery. And then she lives in the south in this plantation, because yes, this is set in 1861 at the beginning. So this is also set in the American Civil War, about which I knew nothing about because I am Mexican, so I never really had a good history class that really taught me about this. I knew that the Civil War in America was a thing, but again, very much like Gone with the Wind, I had no previous real baggage or information. I knew that it was something to do with slavery and something to do with Abraham Lincoln, but that was it. Like my knowledge regarding that part of history is appallingly bad, just very scarce, which, by the way, is something that I am finding out this year, that I've been reading more historical novels such as this one, such as the Hilary Mantel series, Wolf Hall. I have been really confronted by my own ignorance, and I appreciate that because it's a learning opportunity, certainly. So this is wonderful. It is a sprawling epic. We follow this character, Scarlett O'Hara, and I love her. I absolutely adore her, and the story is incredibly dramatic, incredibly sweeping and melodramatic and in the best possible way. I think there's many things to think about and to say about this book, but I will reserve some of my thoughts for later. But yeah, I am, and it's actually very readable. This is a long novel. This is 959 pages long. Wow, almost 1,000 pages. And in just a week, I have read about 380. So I am a third, more than a third into the book, and it's very readable, it's very well written, it's very accessible. So what I want to read next week, of course, I'm going to continue with Gone with the Wind. That's really the book that I want to take on as a project. I want to finish the collection, and as soon as I finish this, I want to start reading The Year of Reading Dangerously by Andy Miller. This is a memoir, but it's a book about books. And this year, 2020, I have read some books about books, and I have found that they are the perfect companion while reading some other more intimidating projects, such as Gone with the Wind, or, for example, when I was reading the Hilary Mantel book, The Mirror and the Light, I was reading the Diary of a Bookseller. So these are just really good palate cleansers, but also great companion pieces. They are nonfiction. Some of them are very funny, and they are great to read alongside bigger books. And that's what I want to do. My tongue is like bleh. So Andy Miller is a pretty popular author. I think he wrote something that is pretty popular on BookTube, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, Andy Miller, it says, Andy Miller had a job he quite liked, a family he loved, and no time at all for reading, or so he kept telling himself. But no matter how busy or tired he was, something kept niggling at him. Books. Books he'd always wanted to read. Books he'd said he'd read that he actually... No, books that he said he had read that he actually hadn't. Books that whispered the promise of escape from the daily grind. And so, with the turn of a page, Andy began a year of reading that was to transform his life completely. So it says that he reads books like Master and Margarita, Middlemarch, Anna Karenina, A Confederacy of Dunces. It's a heartfelt, humorous, honest examination of what it means to be a reader, and a witty and insightful journey of discovery and soul-searching that celebrates the abiding miracle of the book and the power of reading. Of course, I am reading this very soon. That's what I will be reading, and I look forward to my next update to tell you more about Gone with the Wind and the ending of the collection, to give you a review of the collection overall as an entity. And please let me know in the comment section down below, what are your thoughts on Gone with the Wind? Have you read it? Have you watched the movie? I am watching the movie the day that I finish the novel. I look forward to that experience so highly. I'm very, very much anticipating that. Thanks for watching. I am Just One Reader, and I will see you on the next video.